Welcome back to Pop Goes the 60s, everyone. I'm Matt Williamson. I have not changed. I'm still here, and today I'm going to do another Beatle topic, and this will be on the topic of Beatle cover songs. And this came up because I was asked recently to guest on another podcast, this one by somebody called Vin Cognito. He's known for doing one called The Band with Kaleidoscope Ears. So he takes a Beatles song and breaks it down with another YouTuber, James Corbett, and Vinny plays guitar and breaks it down musically. Very interesting for you musicians out there. And just interesting in general if you like the Beatles. And I like to, hi Bogey, come on up. I like to, break down a singular song and talk about it. So I did that. And the topic was not just Beatle cover songs, but it was the good, the bad, and the really weird. So we had a lot of fun. Get up there. Get up there. We had a lot of fun doing this. And I'll put some links at the end of this video. But in preparation for that, I started digging into just Beatle cover songs in general and some of the history around it. And hey, don't you cry. Don't you do it. I don't know what his thing is lately. He's been giving me a hard time. So hopefully I can get through this video. So what I did was I just started looking at the different covers in the history, and I found a website called secondhandsongs.com, which listed Beatle covers by the quantity, most covers of each song. So I'm sure many of you know, Yesterday has been one of the most covered pop songs ever. And this particular website has the number of covers at 1,302 artist covers it. Now, the number I had heard, and this is a Guinness Book of World Records number, it's more in the 1,600 range. And that's on a pretty old statistic. So I'm not sure exactly where all these numbers come from. And I'm sure some are so obscure it may be hard, to capture them all. But anyway, I started looking at the top 50 of the most songs covered of Beatles songs. And the top 10 is by far the most interesting. So let's go through these briefly here. So number 1 is Yesterday. And by the way, Paul McCartney sometimes says there's over 3,000 covers. Nobody seems to really know, and he's exaggerating a bit. I've always gone with 1,600. That's a Guinness Book of Records number that seems to fit. So I'm going to go with that one. Although Secondhand Songs clocks it in at a little bit lower. So number 1 on the list, of course, is Yesterday. Number 2, Eleanor Rigby. Number 3, Let It Be. I would have to say Let It Be is probably one of the most covered songs I've heard. Number 4, Something. Number 5, Hey Jude. Number 6, Blackbird. Number 7, Michelle. Number 8, Here, There, and Everywhere. Number 9, And I Love Her. Number 10, Norwegian Wood. So there's the top 10. And I'm sure something really jumped out at you, and that most of these are mainly Paul McCartney songs. 8 of the 10 songs are mainly McCartney songs. So that's Yesterday, Eleanor Rigby, Let It Be, Hey Jude, Blackbird, Michelle, Here, There, and Everywhere, and I Love Her. And I Love Her. The singular George Harrison song is Something, and then the singular John Lennon song is Norwegian Wood. So that is interesting, but maybe not surprising. Why would it not be surprising for Paul McCartney to have more cover songs or more people covering Paul McCartney songs? Why would that be? Well, if you notice about all of these songs in the top 10, what's the obvious thing there? What are they all? They are all ballads. Cover songs, generally, if you're going to talk about the most cover songs of anything, they typically end up being ballads. Why is that? Well, I guess ballads are just something, it's just love and romance is just, that's always fresh, that's always new. So maybe you go back to an old song that hits it on the head, and obviously the Beatles were good at that. And so we have ballads leading the charge here. And as we go to the next 10, that starts to dissipate a little bit. So at number 11, we have Come Together. 12, Here Comes the Sun. 13, In My Life. 14, With a Little Help from My Friends. 15, The Fool on the Hill. 16, The Long and Winding Road. 17, Can't Buy Me Love. 18, A Hard Day's Night. 19, Obla Di Obla Da. And 20, Help. So in this one, we see Lennon start to gain a little ground here as we go down the list. And in that list, we've got 4 more John songs and another George song. So McCartney's still with 5 there. Is that right? Actually, I take that back. One of the songs is a John and Paul song. So obviously all of these Lennon-McCartney songs, if you understand them and how they write, there is a collaboration on all of these songs. Sometimes it's very subtle, and sometimes it's right down the line 50-50. So With a Little Help from My Friends is more of a split one, I guess. So the next 10, we have a couple more splits. That's I Want to Hold Your Hand and She Loves You. So we're getting more into the rock songs now. We have All My Loving, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Day Tripper, Penny Lane, Ticket to Ride, She's Leaving Home, All You Need Is Love, Strawberry Fields Forever. As we continue down these lists here, we see the disparity between Paul and John even out more and more. The next 10, Lady Madonna, Across the Universe, When I'm 64, Yellow Submarine, Get Back, We Can Work It Out, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I Saw Her Standing There, I Will, If I Fell. Actually, that 10, there's quite a bit of Paul in that group of 10. And then the final 10, which rounds out the top 50, Nowhere Man, A Day in the Life, Got to Get You Into My Life, Girl, Because, I Feel Fine, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, and For No One. So in the end, if you add up this top 50, 23 songs by McCartney, 18 by Lennon, 3 by Harrison, and 6 we'll call collaborations of John and Paul. So that's kind of a rough top 50. Now, I've never been a fan of cover songs of the Beatles anyway. Since I was a kid, I always kind of, well, nobody can do them as good as the Beatles, right? But over the years, I have found some very good cover songs that I do like, and sometimes some artists can take them somewhere else or give them just a different treatment entirely. And I think the point of covering a song is that people like to play it and they like to sing it. Particularly, this is where the ballads come in. They want to quote the song or the movie Going My Way with Bing Crosby. If you're going to croon a song to your babe, you know. So you would do that with a ballad. So these covers are the most covered songs are typically ballads. And that's outside of the Beatle world as well. And over the years, not only have I found a couple very good covers, I find lots of bad ones. I've always said, whoa, this really does not do justice to the song. And, obviously everybody's not the Beatles, but, sometimes there are some that are very much lacking. And then we get some that are just completely off the wall, bizarre. And we're going to explore that a little bit in the video I did with Vinny and with James. So we do we each take a category, we each do a song from each category, the good, the bad, and the very strange. So that video will be in the description below and at the end of this video. So make sure to check that out. That was a lot of fun. And when you go over there, put down the covers that you like, the covers you don't like, or some of the covers you think are incredibly weird, because there are plenty out there. And I'm sure you've got a few of your own to chip in to this discussion. So again, another very interesting way to look at Beatles music and to kind of decipher what their value is. Because the fact that people want to cover their songs a lot, that means that they have some kind of value. That people want to hear them, they want to share them, they want to sing them, and they enjoy hearing them, I guess. So that's always one of the criteria when I talk about the very best Beatles songs. This is one of the many criteria, criterions I use for that. So anyway, get over to Vin Cognito and check out a deeper discussion on these Beatles covers. Thanks for watching Pop Goes the 60s.